buenos días, buenas tardes o buenas noches desde donde quiera que nos vean. Hoy veremos Peter Jackson presenta The Frighteners. No olvides darle like, suscribirte a nuestro canal y activar la campanita.
So, welcome to this special edition DVD release of The Frighteners. The Frighteners was a movie that I made down here in New Zealand back in 1995. It's 10 years ago now, so I guess this is the 10th anniversary release in the days before Lord of the Rings and King Kong. Looking back on my filmmaking career, The Frighteners is a very important movie for me because it is the very first time that I've gone beyond making an independent New Zealand film, which is how my first few movies were financed. They were very, very low budget. And with The Frighteners, I had my first access to what felt like a very big budget at the time. By today's standards, it was quite small, but it was a whole different world for me. I'd never worked with a big movie star before like Michael Fox, had never done anything as complicated with visual effects before. You have to realize that in 1995, when a lot of The Frighteners was being made, CG effects were very new. It was the beginning of that whole trend. So one of the things that happened with The Frighteners was that our own digital effects company down here in New Zealand called Weta expanded from having one single computer to about 35 computers, I think, is what we ended up with at the height of the effects on The Frighteners. And there's about 500 CG shots in the film. It was during the post-production on The Frighteners that we were, everyone was feeling very stressed. We were trying to get all these 500 CG shots done. And I was coming under a stress all of my own because I was wondering, gosh, what on earth am I going to do with all these computers when the movie is finished? And it was at that time, it was about November 95, while we were just in the thick of post-production, that the idea of doing a fantasy film came about, that I thought, okay, well, what type of movie could I make that is going to need a big computer infrastructure? And the idea of doing the Lord of the Rings came into my mind then, and the first phone calls about Lord of the Rings were made during the post-production on The Frighteners because I was starting to stress out about having all these computers and not going to have a film to actually use them on. So for me, it's a really critical movie that connects Heavenly Creatures, a low-budget independent film, with Lord of the Rings, a mega-budget international movie. It's the film that allows me to move between those two very different worlds. So sit back and I hope you enjoy The Frighteners.